Okay, you're on.
This video came 5 or 6 days after the last video, and you can see I'm starting with him the way I start every horse every day, which is I work on their neck a little bit and ask them to move over and make sure they're moving easily to the left and the right. Soft in the neck, jaw and pull. He really likes this on this side because he's a little stiff on this side. And then you can see we do what I call the lateral engaging step, where I want him to move sideways with as much crossing as possible, as much bend as possible, and as much stretch over the top as possible. And this is one of the ways a horse can move out, move away from the direction of his bend. He's bent left, moving right. He can do this, the lateral engaging step. He can do it in a shoulder in or a shoulder four, things like that. And here, you see I don't spend a whole lot of time with that now. This horse is moving along really quickly. He's very smart. I really enjoy working with him. And every time I get on him, he's better. We haven't had a bad day yet. We'll shake, make sure he's steady. Moment hesitation, and I throw my leg over. Now, if you've seen the earlier videos, you know that his thing is he would like stiffen and not be able to move, and this was by far the easiest softening and working through that we've had. Just reaching back, giving a little pat on his butt, getting him used to me moving around up there. There, he's a little stiffened for a moment, and you can see just playing with him a bit. Okay, and just enough to shake, get him shifting his weight.
Too close to me. Just a little tad. Yeah.
So I just did that enough to shift his weight so he could start moving again. Horses get locked up sometimes when they have this bad habit of bracing and stiffening and refusing to go. There he is again. And it much easier that time. So this is taking like a second or two now to get him each time he stiffens and stops like that. And it used to be much more of a production. I'm asking him to change bend and direction, but you'll notice I'm keeping him bent left and bringing the circle way in because he wasn't reaching into the left rein. He was hollow on the left. And so I just brought him in onto that small circle, keeping contact even. And you see he fixed the bend himself and started to move out into the left rein. This is such a cool bit of business. I'm going to replay it here in slow motion and we can look at it together again. So here he is, and I'm asking him to bend right, and he's having none of it. He's hollow on the left. So he's keeping his bend to the left, and rather than pull him out or try and fix the bend, I open the inside rein, lead him in onto the small circle, and it's the small circle that fixes the bend and moves him out into the outside rein. And this is such an important concept. In classical terms, everybody says, well, do a volte. Well, this is what I just did. Only it was a much smaller volte than what we might be used to. It was the size volte or size circle that I needed to do to get him to bend and reach into the outside rein correctly. And people don't do that. It's a huge mistake. We're moving on, and not very much. You see the walk is still very pokey, but it'll pick up in time. Here I'm asking him to turn in, and he gets stuck again. So I just sit there for a minute, keep a little pressure on the hollow side, let him settle in, and then he says, oh, okay, and he moves on. And now we're about to change bend and direction, and you notice this time he moved right out into my outside edge. So I was able to keep the circle larger. proof that making the circle small the last time worked. Again, kind of a pokey little walk, but he's moving out correctly to the outside aids. The bend is going through the horse. Stuck again for a moment. Same cure, just asked him to soften by keeping a contact on the inside or on the hollow side. And then he changes bend finally and comes around the other way. Now, you might say this is terrible that he stops like that, and I would agree, but it's a lot less terrible than it was just a few days ago. He doesn't do it as much. It's much easier to get him through it, and you don't go from terrible to good in one step. You have to go through less terrible, more less terrible, a lot less terrible, not so terrible, and then you start working on pretty good and getting a little better. Again, a lazy trot, but he's bending, he's relaxed, the tempo is steady, and I'm willing to work with him in this for a while. And yes, I'll be asking for more energy, but I have to keep the relaxation, the suppleness, the tempo. If I sacrifice any of those in exchange for more energy, I'm not going to get more brilliance. I'll just get tension, and it'll all go to hell. So moving forward is not the most important thing in the world. Keeping the horse relaxed, supple, bending, listening, in tempo, in rhythm, in balance. These are the most important things. And then it's pretty easy to add in energy, as you'll see, probably in not too many more videos. I mean, he's much more energetic already now than he was a few days ago. And that's because he's gaining balance and strength and confidence in carrying me around, which is not such an easy thing to do. I mean, look at me. And I'm not sure what's going on there. We stop. Oh, okay. We stopped to get the mounting block taken out of the way. It was sort of in my way. And the transitions into the trot are getting easier and easier. Again, this isn't even first level yet, never mind Olympic level, but all the pieces are there now. I've built my foundation. Now I just need to keep building on it. You notice he moved right out to the left hand when we changed bend to the right this time. Moving sort of a little bit laterally across the diagonal as I change my bend to the left. And I just do lots of this kind of work, making the horse as supple as well-oiled leather. Just flip him this way or that, whichever I want, effortless for him and for me. See him moving right out into the left rein that time? Look, it was just a couple of minutes ago that I had to bring him right in on that tiny little circle. He needs a longer stride and more energy. That will come in not very much more time. Some may be wondering why I'm sitting to this trot. It's because over the years I've found that when horses are still establishing their balance and sort of figuring out how to do this under a rider, they do better, I find, at least with me, when I just sit quietly. I'm sitting lightly. I'm not, grinding down on them or anything. But I just try and sit as quietly as I can, and they seem to do better with that. Since this video's been taken, I've started to introduce a little rising trot as I ask for more energy and a couple of other rides. So everything's coming along. But what I'm looking for is that clock-like tempo, even though it's a little slow, even though the energy isn't quite there, even though the stride isn't quite there. I want that clockwork tempo, which tells me that he's staying in balance. And then you can see the bend is changing evenly and easily from left to right, right through the entire horse. So from there, it's just keep doing what I'm doing, and pretty soon he's doing all the tricks.
Hmm. And his front leg movements are changing. They're more elegant somehow.
Somehow, yes, the owner is right. He is starting to move more elegantly. We stopped there and talked for a bit. If you're looking carefully at the very raw material now, you can start to say, okay, yeah, I can see where this is going to go to. I've been down this path with this type of horse and this method before, so I know I'm exactly on the glide path that I want to be on. But once I have these bits, go stop, right, left, no, go stop, turn in, move out, and soften, um, which are my five basics, then and he's doing all of that for me, then I just keep building on that, and I make myself a full blown dressage horse, and nothing. Well, this horse will be pretty quick because he's so smart. We have to wait for his physical development, but he can learn it all in his head in a week. And I can't wait until we get to the canter. I think it'll be another 2 or 3 weeks before we cross that Rubicon, but he's got a gorgeous canter. I can't wait to sit to that.
Oh,
I think that's it for the day.